Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for taking time out and being with us here this evening. Apologize for a bit of the delay that's taking place, but that's often associated with Mumbai these days. Things generally don't happen all the time, but as you say, you wait long enough and good things happen. So thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us this evening in our first of a series of camps that we're having out here to interact with you, the audience, lovers of art, and perhaps people who want to know a little bit more about it. And we hope over the next hour or so we are able to answer some of your questions, and I've got Sehri here with me who's going to be co-hosting this with me over the next hour or so. Hi.
Hi Rahul, I'm just so glad to be part of this camp, and we have just an excellent set of panelists here. We're going to be doing first up our discussion with them, and then of course it's going to be shown open to the audience who are interested investors in art, and we're expecting to get some curious questions from you as well. But before we start, let me introduce our set of panelists to all of you here. We have Mr. Sonal Singh, who is the Associate Vice President and also Specialist in Modern and Contemporary Art in India from Christie's. And there's Ajay Seth, who is the Chief Mentor of Scopal Art, which is the world's biggest delivery-linked art fund. To my right here, there's Hrishikesh Kulandekar, who is CEO of Leaders Management, very glad to have you in as well. And of course there's Mr. Kanikakar, who is partner of Virtual Travel. Okay, to begin with, now of course as we said, our focus is going to be on art investment and the current scenario of the art market in 2010. I think I'm going to first throw open our first question to Sonal Singh here. Sonal, we've seen an interesting peak to say in the art market after what has happened in 2008 and 2009, because there were a couple of records broken both in the modern masters as well as the contemporary, being Raza and Bharti Kher. Are you hopeful that this trend would continue and further go up?
Yeah, I think what's happened is that the market has just restructured, and we've got a much wider and stronger base of collectors, maybe than ever before at this point. So with whatever's happened in the last 2 years, it's actually been really, really good for us in a sense, and we've quality works at any point, even last year or the year before, have always done well. And the works that have cost, with the Raza that we sold at 3.5 million in June, it was one of the best works to come into the market. So it's really now the market speaking for itself in a sense, and it's the prices are just a reflection of quality and the demand for it. So.
Right.
Ajay, what's your own sense? You think that it's at a bit of an inflection point, the art market? I mean, it went through its stress and troughs along with the equity markets by and large. We saw what happened in 2008. But are we standing at a bit of an inflection point given some of the price points that the recent works have gone at?
See, if you link it with the equity market or with the financial markets, I think it's incorrect. The only thing is, that when the markets, the financial markets crash, or there's a liquidity crunch, or there's a problem, there's a tendency of a buyer, I would call it not an investor, a buyer is that, okay, this is not the priority right now. But, for a Tamil collector, art is always a priority. Right? So that already, like, Sonal did say, that the benchmark price, the new records are being created. Once the market has started buying. And I remember that, we had, engaged the services of Ancion. So there was a discussion last year that they were predicting that, that the forecast was that this current 2010, the market would go further down, would cover the art market. So I was very candid, no, it cannot happen. So, because, that the crunch came all of a sudden, but, the global crunch is still there, the markets are still bad. But in terms of the art, globally, the upswing is already there. So I'm very optimistic that the new records are going to be, especially for Indian art, because we are undervalued.
Right. Actually, I'd like to the next question to you. Does it affect you as a collector at all with the market going down and moving up, or?
If art is a passion with you, it doesn't really matter. The market's going up, the market's going down, and there are many players in the art market. So, you start with the artist, and then you suddenly have the galleries, the dealers, the resellers, the auction houses, the average buyer, the collector. So there's a whole slew of things happening in that whole domain. And in that slew of things that are happening, the collector is the guy who is actually just passionate about art, about collecting art. So that guy is not really bothered. Markets are going up, he's still buying. Markets are going down, he's still buying. The average buyer is the guy who feels the pinch the most, and that average buyer also needs to be a little bit more savvy. If he's a savvy buyer, I think he looks at the highs and the lows, and what he looks at more just than the highs and lows is the breadth of the market. Because you can have one high, you can have a fantastic Raza work or a Souza work or a something or the other, or a Tayyab Mehta work or something like that, which is an absolutely phenomenal work, never to be repeated. You could find a rare Swaminathan, for example, or some such, which somebody might be willing to pay a bomb. For example, an average collector, if he has a huge gap in his collection, depends on how people are structuring their collection. But if they are structuring their collection, let's say, according to periods, and somebody saying, okay, in this period of the progressive, I have everybody, but I don't have a Gade, and therefore I'm going to go after a Gade, and the first Gade that comes, suddenly there's a peak. But, where is the breadth of the market? So a savvy investor will look more at the breadth of the market than just one high or one low, or the right time to invest, the best time to invest, not the best time, and so on and so on.
You're almost sounding like an equity market person. Rishikesh, I just want to ask you a question. Since you are on the wealth management side, a lot of people that I speak to, sort of the emerging middle class, or the middle class getting into the rich zone, if you will, depending on how you want to define it, stay away from it because it is viewed as an expensive area to enter. You don't have, just going back to the point Ashwini was making, when you look at the equity market, you have tangibles. You go with tangibles, you know how to value a company, you have something to go with. How do you explain a 1 crore painting to someone? Or not even 1 crore, even if you want to buy 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, something of that sort. There is an apprehension to spend so much money, as you said, first take the plunge. How do you explain that to someone who's just sort of, moving up the value chain in life and wanting to put in money, but these price points are just too high for them? It's not appealing to the masses by and large.
Again, and I'm sure Ashwini will disagree with this, but like anything in life, right? I guess you really can things. You don't really kind of get people to convert that easily, right? But frankly, it all depends on what your objectives are, right? So would I ever kind of set myself up to say the emerging affluent class or whatever it is should invest in art and hence kind of recommend it? I would not, right? Because it's so personal. And previously what I said was that I would never kind of make it a part of the asset allocation. So it's really kind of it's left to the advice of the world, if you will, and the Sonals to figure out a way to sell it, if you will. And so frankly, as a wealth manager, I am not saying here's something you want to have exposure to. It really it's got to be kind of interested in. And I firmly believe that. I would not. It's much more demanded as opposed to pushed.
No. I tend to. I have some empathy here, but I'm saying it. And how does that empathy manifest itself? Because it's also quite complex. It's not as though it's just very, very simple. You look at line, you look at form, you look at, and then you say, wow, this is fantastic, and everything blends beautifully, and so on and so. It's not as simple as that. We're trying to simplify stuff as much as possible for this discussion purpose. But then you have multiple layers on top of this, because you have then global art, and country by country. What China is doing, what Vietnam is doing these days. What is happening, what was happening in Mexico, what did Europe do in the Renaissance period as well. So, there's all these global complexities, there's local art, and then you get into, what medium are you talking about? Are you talking about oil on canvas? Are you talking about watercolors on paper? Are you talking about a sculpture in bronze? Are you talking about, a stone sculpture or something? And not only that, then you get into periods, So you say, oh my God, but this is really from the Mughal period. Or this art is really Raj art or whatever, in inverted commas, whatever. Or this is Indian modern and contemporary. And now this is all Indian art, or you can go into, temple art and stuff like that and so on and so forth. Those huge, beautiful sculptures, those, beautiful bronzes and stuff like that. And it's all Indian. So, Indian, global, medium, period. So it gets quite complex. And then you have those other layers cutting into this of, line form, whatever, all those. So it's not that simple, but over a period of time, if you work on it, if you work on every aspect of it, if you go out into the galleries, into, shows, meet the artists, try and understand what they're saying, speak to them, then you start to get a fantastic feel for it. And then you have a very good chance of really creating humongous value. You go out, you've seen thousands of works, more or less, that this will work, this will not work, and over a period of time, 100 out of 100 of your works will never become extremely valuable, okay? And that's exactly like stocks. 100 out of 100 stocks that you buy, they never become valuable. There'll be some lemons which will drop by the wayside, and there'll be some stars which will really take you places. And that's what happens with us.
And I must tell you guys, you're hearing this from an extremely seasoned collector.